Right, in terms of project management, the most basic distinctions of character profile are between four kinds of characters. However, there are usually combinations. So you would get one of the quadrants registering high, and then another one close behind, and then usually the other two are quite far behind, perhaps with one being very far behind. So a person may be a high D and very low on the S. A person may be high DC. A person may be high IS. More unusual is the diagonal, DS and IC, right? Okay, but we're going to go through each one of these quadrants in turn and discuss their suitability for different areas of the project management matrix. Okay, so let's look at the high D. You've got dominance, driver, directive, and the old-fashioned term choleric, which, by the way, refers to the yellow bile, all right, which is produced by the gallbladder. It is the substance that is produced when you have a surge of adrenaline, and that is really where this character profile is at. It's all about the adrenaline, okay? All right, I've got an abridged version of this presentation for this group simply because we are constrained with regard to time, okay? So let's go to the first slide. Here's some pictures. Some of them you'll recognize. Okay, one of them indeed may be back in a couple of years. We don't know. All right. This, of course, our neighbor to the north. He was the president for many, many years. In fact, I think quite a few decades. There's, of course, Steve Jobs, whom I would rate as a high D, although there's strong elements of the C there as well. He sadly passed away, I think, in 2013. And there's George W. Bush, who's still alive. He was president of the USA before 2008, from 2000 to 2008. And then, of course, there's Baroness, I think that's her title, Margaret Thatcher, who was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom between 1980 and 1989. Okay, all right, so there you've got high Ds. These are examples of high Ds. What is it about the high D in terms of project management? They need results and they need challenges. So usually the project manager would be a high D. I'm not saying that is prescriptive. I'm saying it tends to work out that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. But usually the team leaders, usually the people who are involved in driving the team or in driving the sprints, if you're talking about agile project management, they're interested in results and challenges. That's what turns them on. They're obviously interested in other things. But please understand that these are not naturally people. Okay, people would be more the I's and the S's. These are task and goal-driven people. All right, so the kind of people who say facts don't care about your feelings. We're just looking at the results here. Okay, all right, and you need them in emergencies, indeed. Their major strengths in project management, they get things done, they're decisive and persistent, but in project management, their weaknesses could be that they're insensitive to others, they're impatient, they overlook risks, facts, inflexible, and unyielding. All right. So that, of course, would be a problem. And I'm sure you can identify when you look at these different guys, you can identify with that. In particular, one on the top right there. Okay, I think he had the highest staff turnover of any president in history. Okay? Hiring and firing on a daily basis. Okay, all right. Didn't care about their feelings at all. Was really concerned with the results. Okay, all right. So we have the best environment for project management. They need challenges. They need freedom to act and variety. Okay, so sticking them to the project plan to the nth degree by the letter of the law, that's going to be a problem. They need that freedom to switch midstream, etc. Okay, and that's going to be a challenge, of course, because the project plan might be highly prescriptive. Right? The ideal project is where they have control. All right, of the project. They want to do the project or the task of work their way. Right? They like to change things off the baseline. Now, you've got to be careful of this. If they change things off the baseline, that results in, obviously, the project not keeping according to the original scope, and that is a challenge. All right. The greatest fear is losing control. All right. And how do you convince them? It's always about what? What is the plan? What are we going to achieve? What is our goal, etc.? What is it going to cost? Okay. How do you disagree? Well, you basically don't. It's very difficult to disagree with them. And you've got to be very deft at doing that. So that's a summary of the high D. I'm going to stop the presentation. Stop the recording. and I'll do another recording for the high